streaming forward is Alexia Hamilton, who got a point earlier on. She's in the goal square. She got tackled by Coletti immediately. Brooke Brown's there, tries to soccer it off the ground, has a little bit of a topsy-turvy fall over. The Blues now are able to try and get it out of defence, but she's tackled immediately there by Alexia Hamilton, who's put on some great pressure to start off this game. Elise, what are you making of it?
Yeah, that was good work from North there to try and lob it over the top and try and, was it Alexia Hamilton try to run onto it, but yeah, unfortunately for them, it wasn't able to come to fruition.
Gee, Hamilton's been good early, and she might get another chance here as North looks dangerous again heading into their forward line. The ball is just kept in play, so it's Carlton in a dangerous zone here, trying to move it out. And the umpire will let play continue with the ball on the ground, all wrapped up on the opposite side of the ground to our broadcast position, and it'll be a ball up. 5 minutes past in this first term here at IKON Park, with North Melbourne leading 1-1, 7 to Carlton's no score.
So if you're joining us today on WRF Radio, you can now also head over to the YouTube AFL Victoria page where we're live streaming this game, and you can see the vision aligned up with our beautiful voices as well. So we're happy to have you both on YouTube and WRF Radio today. We're inside North Melbourne's forward 50 where a tackle's been laid, and the umpire's called holding the ball. So it'll go, he pointed towards North Melbourne, but it'll actually go towards Carlton's way. So the Blues will have a chance to rebound at a defensive 50 through laying it looks like. She tries to get it towards her target in Wilson, didn't quite find her. She has to go at ground level and pick it up. Can't quite get there, so Bethany Lynch will go forward now. There's a bouncing ball towards goal. Is it going to get touched? It's going to hit the post instead. So another behind there for North Melbourne. It's 1-2-8. The Blues are yet to score early on in this clash at IKON Park.
Gee, North are looking very dangerous early, just peppering the goals, so that's something Carlton will try and quell a little bit as they go on. Here the mark, strong mark there, taken by Wilson, and she'll look to just ease it out through the hands of Zampaglione, who can't hold on to it, but she's got plenty of support there from her teammate, and it'll be Linson, who again sends just a short kick over to her teammate, just to calm things down a bit. No one in Carlton's 50 at the moment, so they'll need to push forward. Quick handball from Peterson across, and she gets the 1-2 and receives it back and goes for a bit of a run here. Gets an arm on her, but is able to shrug off the tackle, and she goes into the 50. Again, her teammate not able to get her hands on it, but a nice little pass there. But it's still Carlton, and they're toing and froing in the mix there is Lang. The ball's going forward. A couple of players running onto it there is Peterson. She has time to stop and collect, and again shrugs off her opponent, puts it on the boot. The umpire watches it sail through, and it's a goal there to Peterson, and Carlton's first goal on the board. They're now catching up to North Melbourne, who are leading at the moment, 1-2-8 to Carlton's 1-6.
Elise Collette, what did you make of that?
Yeah, great shrug off there, and great goal. And I just wanted to quick around the grounds. Over at the hangar, it's Essendon 1-6, Darebin yet to score.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that update there, Elise. We're glad you're keeping an eye on things for us, and we're happy to have your company here on WRF Radio and the YouTube AFL Victoria channel, where you can watch the stream, or you can scream if you want as well. It's up to you, but we don't recommend it. We're here at a windy IKON Park. The umpires hold the ball aloft again, where Georgia Borg's in the ruck. North Melbourne's able to get the clearance though. They've got a quick trail of hand passes, gets them out of the centre square. Georgia Borg still running onto it after a tap in for the Blues. They're inside forward 50 now, North Melbourne. They're looking dangerous, as Loz mentioned earlier on. There's a couple of players here at ground level. The Blues have managed to get it out now through Jones. Jones will get a handball off to the wing. They'll go forward now, the Blues, on the true centre wing position. They can't quite find a target, so North Melbourne is able to pick it up off the ground level. They'll go inboard now. There's a player there in Laura Wright for the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Can't quite get her hands to it. The Blues now will have a chance to go back inside 50. Ali Bild, the captain, with a big kick on her boot. Can't quite find her target, so has to get it off the ground level. Megan Lawrence is there for the Roos. The Blues will go forward now. Can Peterson get her second in a minute? She can't. A player marks instead, and it's a great mark by the Blues inside their forward 50. 40 metres out, straight in front, and it's in the hands of a number 4 that we don't have on our team sheet.
Love that. There's always one.
There's always one. So we'll hopefully find the name as the game goes along. But she's in the blue boots, 40 metres out, straight in front. She's lining up now for the Blues' second goal of the day to try and counteract North Melbourne's dominance. Leans on it, gets the distance, gets the accuracy, gets the goal. So the Blues, with their second goal of the day, they're 2 straight 12. North Melbourne are 1-2-8. And the rain, I can see, is pelting down a bit heavier now, as you mentioned in the radar earlier, Elise. How are you finding the conditions so far out there for the players?
Yeah, it would not be easy. And I've just done a quick look here. Number 4 is Serena Gibbs.
Beautiful.
So I think she's changed numbers there on us.
That's okay. Serena Gibbs, we love seeing her kick a few goals, and she's been fantastic at AFLW level. Obviously didn't quite get the results she wanted last week. I think she only had about 2 touches in her game last week, and she's back here to find some form in the VFLW. So good on her for getting a goal.
So North pressing early, but it's Carlton who take the lead here with their 2 goals. So sensational, fast, quick work from Carlton to get a couple of goals on the board. And they look to go again here through the hands of Lang, who's been good early. She just sends a kick towards the 50, but running onto it there will be Price for North. Trying to get her team a little bit of an advantage here in the mix there as well was Slaney. But the ball's taken to ground. It looks to be locked in. And the umpire will just wait a little bit, come in and blow his whistle. And we'll restart again. Carlton in Carlton's forward half with a nice little chance here to go forward yet again. The ball's tapped towards their forward 50, but it's North Melbourne able to get a bit of a chance kick there, but it's smothered. And the ball will again be taken, and it's in the hands of Ingram, and she's locked down, locked in, and it's all locked up, and the umpire will throw up top of Carlton's forward 50.
So locked in, locked up, locked everywhere, lock the doors. Make sure your car doesn't get stolen if we're going to keep going on the locking theme. But while we're inside 50, Serena Gibbs is there. Can she take her second mark in a minute? No, she can't. She has to pick it up at ground level instead. Megan Lawrence is there for the North Melbourne, who can try and paddle it towards the forward 50. Instead, the Blues are able to find the ground ball a bit better. Can't quite get in their hands though. So North Melbourne will try and get a kick out. It's a dangerous kick to Kylie in the corridor. There's a couple of Carlton players there to chase it up. Winnie Lang's one of them. She tackles her opponent immediately and just gets the kick away. The kick was affected and it'll be a lasso free kick. So the Blues will get it back, and it's in the hands of their skipper, Ali Build, with the blue boots on today, as she does like to wear nice colours. There's a couple of nice coloured boots out there if we're going to talk about coloured boots. So Build will wheel around, will go to the top of the square as you usually do. Serena Gibbs has a flight at the ball but can't quite get to it. A great pick up there from Trudgeon on ground level. She's very versatile for a tall player. Ingram was bumped as she tried to pick it up. So North Melbourne instead will get it out through Jade Hamilton, who's at the back while her sister's up forward. Courtney Jones instead finds a target. She runs around her opponent, takes a bounce off the ground, runs to 40, kicks a goal, but instead it sails to the right side of the post on the legend stand. So it takes the Blues to 2-1-13. They're first behind of the day. The North Melbourne Kangaroos are 1-2-8. So we'll have a kick in now on the Roos side of things. And while they dominated early on in the forward 50, they've now been stuck in Carlton's forward 50 for a while. They've kicked it straight to Georgia Borg. It fell out of her hands, so Brie Kerr has to go pick it up. She was held as she tried to get it. Umpire didn't see it. So Winnie Lang will now have to tackle her North Melbourne opponent, and the ball will be wrapped up just outside 50. Elise Collette, what have you made of the game so far?
Yeah, one thing that has impressed me that, despite the fact that they are trailing, North's defensive pressure has been very strong so far, and they haven't made things easy for Carlton in their forward 50 at all.
So it's North Melbourne here will try and use that defensive pressure and a few of their key defensive pillars to get the ball out. It was Keeley who had the ball there, but she couldn't do anything with it. And again, it's another forward 50 for Carlton. Bashing it forward there was Lou, the captain. She gets it towards the top of the goal square, and there's a couple of her teammates out there looking to make something out of it. It's Peterson who's able to get her hands onto it. At the back there is Gurr, and the ball falls out on the left boot. Oh,
I think that's gone in.
It's squeezed through for another goal for Carlton to make Carlton's third goal of the day.
Maddie Wilson was the one that kicked that one, was the one to look out for in the pre-game, Luke O'Shaughnessy mentioned, and she's on the board once again for the Blues. She's had a great season so far, and a great snap off the left boot there, Elise Collette. What did you make of her snap?
Yeah, that was a great kick. I wasn't 100% sure whether it had gone in there for a second, but yeah, it has, and Carlton just building bit nice. Sorry.
They're building.
I'm boarding so far.
It's too early in the morning. There's no coffee cart here, so we're all a bit rusty. I hope you'll forgive us here on the WARF radio commentary or the YouTube AFL Victoria stream, wherever you're joining us from. We're happy to have you. The Blues are heading towards the Legends stand end. North Melbourne heading to the Royal Park end. The umpire's about to hold the ball aloft with Carlton 13 leading North Melbourne 8. So Georgia Borg once again contesting the ruck. She gets a tap out, but there's no midfielder there to contest it. So North Melbourne will have a chance to head out inside forward 50 and try and capitalise on their dominance early on in the quarter. A tap towards Build. Build will have to handball it back to her teammate. They'll keep going now. Esther Honeybun's got the ball in her hand, the former Darebin star. She has to go back to Lou. Lou kicks it forward, but there's only North Melbourne players there. The umpire instead picks out a free kick. It looks like it's for a dangerous tackle, so it will go back to the Blues. And it's in the hands of Georgia Borg now, the ruckman, who was named best on ground last week and then win over Darebin. So even though she's tall, she can dominate in wet conditions. So we'll see how she goes today. Kicks it towards the direction of Winnie Lane. Can't quite get to her. Instead, it's picked up by Molly Eastman, who was immediately tackled by Trudgeon. North Melbourne go forward once again. There's 3 Blues on 1 North Melbourne player, but North Melbourne still managed to get the ball out. And now it's in the hands of Airlie Runnels. Runnels has to go forward to Eastman. Eastman gets tackled as she kicked it, so it will go backwards once again. It'll propel forward now through Kira Price. Price gets it off to Hamilton, and she's tackled immediately as she got the ball. And it was a great tackle laid there by the player to watch in the pre-game, Jessie Coletti. Coletti with a long kick forward. It lands in the hands of Peterson, who's been in fine form lately. A little chip kick over the top doesn't quite work. The players didn't quite communicate there, so Courtney Jones has to just tow it forward. The goal kicker, Maddie Wilson, is nearby. Courtney Jones with a clean pick up off the ground level. The check side kick towards the top of the square doesn't quite work out, and it's in the safe hands of Molly Eastman for the Roos.
So it'll be North now who are starting to make their way. Oh, and a drop mark there by Goodman, which could prove costly, but no, North Melbourne are able to just clean that up and start to get out of their danger zone. And they'll do that through, sweeps through the arms of Lynch, but she goes back and absolutely brings her Carlton opponent to ground there, and it's Vernon who's brought to the bottom. And could be in a little bit of trouble here. She's brought to the bottom of her tackle, and she's holding her left knee.
She was in real pain as soon as she got tackled. She let out a big scream, and she's clutching the knee right now in a lot of pain. So Brooke Vernon, the AFLW listed defender, we hate seeing injuries. She was injured early on in the season as well. You could see her teammates around her looking really worried, and the umpire's going to call for a trainer and a stop of play here just to try and get Brooke Vernon off the ground safely.
While we've got this break in play here, just a quick update from the hangar. Essendon 3-3-21, and Darebin still yet to score.
Well, Essendon keep on keeping on, hey, and Darebin, who would have thought that once the powerhouses of the old VWFL competition are struggling in the new, I suppose the relatively new VFLW competition. So we hope the Falcons can get into some form, and we obviously hope Brooke Vernon is okay. She just no stretcher needed, which is obviously a positive sign, but she is still hobbling off in the hands of trainers. So we'll restart play now. The players just need to get back into their positions.
And there should be a Carlton free here for a high tackle.
Yep, so Ali Build's got the ball. The skipper for the Blues this year has done a fantastic job so far. Like I said, in the blue boots today. Ex-Collingwood VFL player, St Kilda Sharks VWFL, and the Sandringham Dragons in the NAB League. Goes forward now, finds a target there in Lawrence. Lawrence tries to wheel and go. She's tackled as she kicked it though. Great tackle there by Caitlin Cox, the former Carlton VFLW forward. Lands on the footy now. Umpire circling. The ball does find its way out. It'll be picked up on ground level by Airlie Runnels. A great pick up there by the former Melbourne Uni star. Gets it forward now. Michaela Barnes is hotly following there Nikki Wallace, the vice-captain there of North Melbourne, back in the side today after concussion. Wallace now gets it forward towards the direction of Hamilton. Hamilton's closely followed by Guerin. Hamilton, a great pick-up by Jade Hamilton that was. Kicks it forward now, but doesn't quite hit her intended target, and Natalie Plain will mark for the Blues. So Plain assesses her option, has to go down the line. In tall timber and Serena Gibbs. Can't quite find her. The ball was spilled to ground level, and it's tackled immediately and dropping the ball. A quick call there by the umpire to try and get the North Melbourne Kangaroos forward, and Caitlin Cox wanted to run off there, but she has to come back and take her position on true centre wing with Bree Gurr on the mark on the end of that. Very impressive tackle by Caitlin Cox. She's impressed early on. So Cox finds a target there in Kira Fitzgerald. She dropped the mark but had space to go and pick it up. Kicks it down the line. It was pushed as she kicked it. So the Blues have a chance to now try and get the ball towards the boundary line. Wilson with the clean hands gets it off to Gibbs. Gibbs goes back inboard and finds a target in Guerin. Guerin's got a player on the switch. She does find her. The kick just goes over her head. It's had a bit too much on it. Peterson's there with Jones to try and help her out. Jones, the ball runs past her. She's still able to pick it up on ground level. She's wheeling and going again, Courtney Jones. She's looked fantastic off that. And she's got a high tackle for her troubles there. So she's on that true centre wing position. On the centre square. She's going to take her time looking for her options. Goes short in the direction of Guerin, but it didn't hit her at all. And North Melbourne's just able to run onto it in the easiest of run-ons. So it goes in the direction of Goodman now. Goodman just tells everyone to slow it up. She hasn't quite got the calibre up forward that she'd like. She does head down there now. There's a one-on-one competition there. The Blues is able to get it towards ground level. Players jump on it immediately. Hamilton's there. Alexia, that was. Tries to get it forward. The ball's at ground level again. So we'll keep bobbing and it'll keep toing and froing here in North Melbourne's forward 50. They've locked it in. Can they try and get it out? They can't quite yet. It'll go in the direction of Jade Hamilton, who's headed up forward. She goes to the top of the square. There's 3 Carlton defenders back there able to mop it up. Natalie Plain's always clean with the footy. How could she go with this kick? Doesn't quite hit her target. Stephanie Lawrence is there to run onto it. She can't quite get to the ball. It's in the centre square now. North Melbourne are able to head straight back to whence it came. So the Blues now have a 2-on-1 inside the forward 50. Jessie Coletti just happened to paddle it over the boundary line. Will they call it deliberate? They won't. It'll be a throw-in. And throw in the inside 50 here for North Melbourne, and Lauren Borden's here to take you away from the next passage of play.
So well done there from Jessie Coletti just to get it over the line in a nice little way that made it not look too deliberate. But it's a dangerous time here for Carlton. North Melbourne looking to just get a little bit back on the Blues, who have really had momentum in the last 10 minutes. And there's the siren. So taking us here, it was a fast start from North, who scored the first goal of the game. But at the moment, at quarter time here at IKON Park, it's Carlton at 3-1-19, leading North Melbourne 1-2-8.
And the goal kickers there for the Blues, Serena Gibbs with 1, Maddie Wilson with 1, and a Kayla Peterson also with a single. For North Melbourne, Brooke Brown got on the board early in the game to kick their first goal and the first score of the game, but then Carlton came back with the last 3 goals. What did you make of that surge, Elise? What was the key to Carlton getting it back into that game?
Yeah, not quite sure really. It was kind of a tale of two halves because North started really well and were able to get the ball out of the centre really well, but then it just flipped and Carlton were able to, although it wasn't very easy to get a possession in their forward 50, they were able to lock it in and just keep getting those scoring opportunities, and that's why they've got an 11-point lead so far.
Exactly right, Elise. We're going to take a little break now at quarter time. We'll be back on the other side of this to take you through the second quarter of Carlton and North Melbourne here at IKON Park on a wet and windy day in Melbourne.
Been playing for a while, sweet kicks, 'cause footy makes you smile, sweet kicks football. If you're getting ready for the trials, gotta go the extra mile, sweet kicks football.
Not always hearing that sweet sound when you kick the ball? Need to develop your footwork or explosive speed? Want to take the next step in your footy career? Then you need Sweet Kicks. More info on our Facebook page or go to our website, sweetkicksfootballacademy.com.au.
Gotta go the extra mile, Sweet Kicks football.
Hey Gary, what time you call this?
Yeah, the traffic was really bad.
Oh, there's Steve-o. G'day, Steve.
Morning.
How's your weekend?
Same old, same old.
What'd you get up to?
Not much. Are you okay, mate?
Looking out for one another is something we all need to do. So if a mate's struggling, ask, are you okay? Listen, encourage action, and check in again soon. Those 4 steps could change their life. Find out more at areyouok.org.au.
One of them is where I shake my head to get my hair out of my eyes. There's another one where I sort of do like a little squeaking in my throat. Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder that affects thousands of Australians. It is characterised by involuntary movements and vocal noises called tics. We can't help it, and we're just like you in every other way. So visit tourette.org.au.
It's the Vflw Women's Match of the Day.
Welcome back to WARF Radio and the YouTube AFL Victoria live stream of Carlton and North Melbourne here at IKON Park on a nice wet and cold Sunday morning, a classic Melbourne weather game. The Blues are leading 3-1-19 to 1-2-8 at quarter time, and the goal kickers, will repeat them once again, Gibbs, Wilson and Peterson for the Blues, while Brooke Brown's got on the board for North Melbourne. Girls, what have you made of the game so far? What do North Melbourne need to do to try and get back into this one? They did kick the first goal of the game, but just lost their touch at the end of that quarter.
I think it's been quite a clean game from. I wasn't sure what to expect, obviously, given that there has been a little bit of rain coming down. But to have 4 goals scored in the first quarter, it's been quite a clean game to watch. North Melbourne, geez, they came out blistering and they looked good and probably surprised me a little bit with how good they looked. But again, they just couldn't maintain that. So I think it's about probably locking it in like they did in those first 5 minutes. Just lock it in their 50 because that's what's giving them the best opportunity. They might not be able to have as clean as a possession in transition from defence. So I think just that ability just to lock it in as much as they can and just give themselves the opportunity and pepper the goals.
And I know it's early on, but is there any players in particular that have impressed you from both sides?
I have really liked the Hamiltons. I think they've been great. Obviously, we've seen them for the first time. Jade was up and about very early there in the forward line. I think both have been quite strong. So some key players for North Melbourne. They're probably 2 that have impressed me early on.
And for Carlton, Elise, are you liking anyone from their side?
There's Peterson's been good up forward. Coletti's been really good as well. Luca Shaughnessy mentioned her in the pre-game, and she's been everywhere a bit. I can say the same for Georgia Borg as well. She's been really good in the ruck.
And a quick around the grounds update from you, Elise. What's happening at the Essendon game?
Essendon game is still 3-3-21 to no score from Darebin, and we're trying to find the score from the Casey Southern Saints game, but Casey aren't updating the Twitter. The website's not being updated, and I can't find a Twitter for the Southern Saints. So I'll keep hunting for that.
Well, if you're at the ground watching Casey and Southern Saints and also joining us here on the WARF Radio and YouTube AFL Victoria stream, feel free to tweet us at WARF Radio with any scores you have. We'd love to know what's going on. It's obviously a big game between Casey and the Southern Saints, and we'd love to see what's going on. But for now, we're here at IKON Park. We're happy to have your company here. It's 3-1-19 to 1-2-8 as we get the second quarter underway. The players are just heading off now to their positions, and we'll wait for the game to recommence. It looks like the rain's just held up at the moment, so we might get a clean bill of health here in the second quarter. I'm just looking at the sideline as well before we get started. Brooke Vernon on crutches and not taking any further part today. Lauren Borden, take it away.
Not good to hear from Brooke Vernon, but we'll turn our attention back into the middle, and it's her teammates here who are starting to move it forward in Carlton, who get nice little couple of tap outs and kicks there. They're not able to move as far as they would have liked, and the ball's just taken there in the centre of the ground here, and it'll be a throw up about 10 metres from the centre circle, so it'll go straight back up here, and tussling in there for position up there was in the max. It was Hamilton actually for North Melbourne, and it's Carlton though who are able to go towards their end, and they've got possession here, and a nice little kick there coming across from Wilson. She pops it up to her teammate there in Trudgeon, who can't quite take it on the volley, but is able to clean and gather and send out the hand pass. And it's North Melbourne who are trying to get it out here, and they're trying to work it out, and just a clearing kick there sends safely into the hands of a teammate who just starts directing traffic there for North Melbourne. She wants to get the ball moving, and it looks like it'll be a 50. She'll be benefit from a penalty here and a 50.
Was that for encroachment?
I think it might have been encroaching the mark.
Yep, the standing rule doesn't apply yet in the VFLW, so we're not looking at any standing penalties here. Licky Wallace was on the 50, and she kicked it forward towards Bethany Lidge. It fell to ground level, so she had to paddle it forward. Now that everyone jumps on the ball to try and get it out, Carlton has it in their hands. It's in the hands of Sarah Ingram. She has to get straight down to ground level and tackled as soon as she had it. So we're just outside 50 here for North Melbourne, towards the Legends stand end they're going in this quarter. The Blues are heading to the Royal Parade end. Georgia Borg once again contesting the ruck. She's been solid today. Doesn't quite get a clearance, the Blues, so they'll have to go to ground level and try and pick it up once again. Guerin's playing in the midfield. We're looking forward to seeing what she can do. She paddles it forward off the ground. Trudges there to try and pick it up on ground level. So is Gibbs. She just has to stand and watch and hope that the ball comes out. It does. She jumps onto it to try and get it again. There's a couple of players around the footy now. Zab Palioli tries to get the ball. And it'll be wrapped up with 2 North Melbourne players on 1 Carlton player. So a contested start here to start the second term. And we're on centre. We're inside the centre square.
Carlton will be glad that it was a ball up there, because they had absolutely no one in their 50 there. So that this has given them an opportunity to push a few players up into their forward line.
So they'll give him a chance to reset, and it's just bursting out there through there for Carlton was Guerin. Real good work there just to bust out of the pack and send it towards her side's 50, and they're looking to work here, and they're looking strong, Carlton, through the hands now of Ingram. She sends it high, and she's looking
for Gibbs.
For Gibbs, was it?
Yep. So Gibbs tries to go forward now. Winnie Lang's up there. Zab Palioni can pick it up off ground level. A snap and a miss. So an exciting passage of play there for the Blues, but didn't quite work out in their favour. They're 3-2-20. North Melbourne are 1-2-8. They'll have a chance to kick it in now. Running out of the goal square they go. A high kick outside 50 now. Who will it reach? No one quite yet. They'll have to struggle with the ball right on the 50-metre line, and the umpire will have a chance to now throw it up. Just outside 50 there for North Melbourne. Or for Carlton, sorry. So we'll have a throw up once again. Borg in the ruck. Tries to get a tap down to one of her midfielders. Once again, jumped on. A contested start to start this quarter. Why do you think that is, Elise? Why do you think it's so hot? I mean, I think the rain's gone, so I'm expecting more of a free-flowing play. Why do you think it's kind of stopped so far?
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess, both teams have got high defensive pressure at the moment and is just so desperate for the ball. And I guess probably because I haven't had... both sides have only had one win so far this season, so they're both that desperate to get as many opportunities as they can in this game to get the ball, then score, and then hopefully get the chocolates.
Definitely a defensive mindset there. So now the kick will come across to Runnels, who's a former Melbourne Uni player, who's been pretty good today. A couple of good pickups off ground level. Gets called to go, tries to kick it towards a teammate, who slides at ground level. I think it was Sarah Skinner there, who we talked about earlier from Glenorchy. But now the Blues are able to pick it up. Ingram's had a couple of touches here early in this second quarter. She hands it off to Bree Gurr. Gurr gets it into the direction of Skinner, who's tackled immediately as she had it, dropped the ball. The umpire didn't call it. Jennifer Liu now tries to paddle it forward. It heads towards the boundary line. She manages to keep it in. So the Blues will have a chance to get it forward. But Runnels, a nice pick up off ground level, a kick towards Caitlin Cox. She's able to get and go. Gets a quick handball off to her skipper in Kylie. Kylie, though, turns it over, and it's Peterson marking just outside the centre square, who's been impressive for the Blues so far. The Cairns premiership winner and best on ground kicks it straight back to whence it came. So Kylie so it was Kylie to Peterson, back to Kylie. So now we'll see if North Melbourne can get it forward. Kylie to her vice captain Wallace, to Cox. A clean chain of handballs here for North Melbourne. Now they'll get it forward once again. Hamilton hands it over to her sister Jade Hamilton. A fend off there for her. To Caitlin Cox. Spun around in the tackle by Ali Bild. Jade Hamilton gets another clean handball out. A kick off the boot there by looks like Brooke Brown. Instead it lands in the hands of her fellow teammate right in the goal square. A great one-on-one contested mark. And North Melbourne will have a chance to kick their second goal of the day. A long run up here by Brooke Brown, who has kicked one already. Doesn't rush any time at all. Quick run up here in the goal square. Makes no mistake. It's North Melbourne's second goal of the day. Exactly. Easy as you like. Straight through the middle. Brooke Brown making her case here for an AFLW debut with 2 early goals. It takes North Melbourne to 2-2-14. They still trail the Blues though by 6 points, 3-2-20. Elise Collette, a great passage of play by North Melbourne. Probably the best one we've seen today.
Yeah, I have to agree. And yeah, it was a great set of handballs, and they were lucky not to give away the incorrect disposal free there about halfway through that set of handballs. But yeah, it was great work trying to find that space and then finding the target in the goal square there in Brown, who, yeah, easy as you like, kicks it true.
So North Melbourne again with the first goal of the second term after scoring the first goal of the first, and they're going ahead here very quickly and trying to get their way in for another quick second. But it'll be Stacks on in the centre square, and it'll be called holding the ball against Carlton. So it'll be North Melbourne who, again, they move quickly, but the umpire will take them back. Won't be happy about that, Slaney, because she's taken a mark there and could have had a shot at goal. Sorry, that was Hamilton again. So she'll just push back towards the goal square and see if she can get on the end of one here. Quite a few options and a few leads coming from North Melbourne. Some strong leads coming across there. Running onto it was Hamilton. She's still got a chance here, but she might be beaten out of it by her Carlton opponent, and it'll end up in the hands of Coletti, who sends a nice little chip kick out. The ball's floating along with the boundary on the outer side of the ground. There's a couple of players going out at it. One of them is Gurr, and the ball falls over the boundary line, and the umpire will throw it in.
And while we've got this quick break in play, we've finally managed to get a score out of Casey. It's 1 goal 6 each. And out at the hangar, it's 4-4-28 Essendon. Darebin still yet to score.
Your pestering phone calls worked, Ali, so thanks for the scoreline there. We appreciate it. So it'll be Carlton here through the arms of Peterson, who just gets a short little handball across, but there's pace now. there's space and pace, and she'll go, and she sends off the quick handball, and they'll go. Just the one player in Carlton's forward, and that's in Lawrence, and she's able to pick it up with a clean pick-up. She goes with the right foot, bouncing into the square, and it goes through.
Holy moly, what a kick.
My oh my, I don't think we expected that. And there's Carlton's first goal for the term. Boy, oh boy, what a way to do it.
Yeah, not the easiest of kicks, and it almost looked like it was going to hit the post there, but yeah, very well done, and Carlton extend their lead.
Outside of the booth, the audacity by Steph Lawrence to get it, dribble it through goal. Carlton have been struggling early on in the second quarter at the moment to put the pressure on, but what a response from Stephanie Lawrence, who we know is a goal kicker. She has kicked a couple of goals this season already. She's a former St Mary's Salesian player and the winner of the 2019 Spirit of Big V Award. So a couple of accolades next to her name, and now a banana kick in the VFLW Round 4 game against North Melbourne. I'm sure she'll be most proud of that one. So the score here, 4-2-26, North Melbourne at 2-2-14. The umpire holds the ball aloft. We're about 6 minutes into the second quarter here at IKON Park. Georgia Borg once again in the ruck for the Blues. Charlotte Linson tries to get the ball. She's in the midfield now for the Blues. Peterson's there to try and get after it. Has Stacks on in the middle of the ground. So the players will try to get it free now. Goodman gets her hands to it for the Roos. Can't quite get to it, but Kylie can. A nice pick up from her for ground level. Kicks it straight to Bethany Lynch. Falls out of her hands. Jennifer Lou's able to chase after it, but she was held as she tried to get the ball. So she'll be able to go back and have her free kick just inside defensive 50 there for the Blues. Resembling Matthew Cruiser with the socks up at the number 8, she goes towards Courtney Jones. A nice lace-out mark from her and a great kick there. So Jones will head towards the line. A nice short kick over the top to Linson. Linson can go for a run now. She tries to find Winnie Lang. The kick went past her. So North Melbourne will have a chance to pick it up now. Linson might be able to get the ball back here. Instead, it falls in the hands of Laura Wright. Molly Easton was there to meet her too. Bumped into each other and went over the boundary line. So we'll have a throw in here just on the centre wing position. Umpire, of course, has to come 10 metres in to get some more corridor footy. Lauren Borden.
So we'll go in here right next to the North Melbourne bench. As coming onto the ground there from Carlton was Wilson. She just strolls in past the umpire and looks to find her opposition player. Getting the touch out there was Goodman. It goes out the back of the pack there on the ground for Carlton is Peterson. She hasn't got the ball in her disposal, but she's looking to try and get it, bring her opponent onto the ground. And the umpire will come in and take the ball. And it looked to have been Hamilton from North Melbourne on the ground there, getting in and under and trying to get the ball out for her side. So they'll go up again here, and getting the tap out there sensationally was Borg. But it's North Melbourne who can just clean that up. And again, taken to ground there is Keeley. Another North Melbourne player just slung to the ground in this sensational pressure that was seen from Carlton today. So the ball will go to Ingram, and she'll take the opportunity. Great smother there. She can't get the kick away because it's Keeley who goes and gets the smother and mops it up for her side despite being taken down. It's North Melbourne now who are on the attack, and it's into the arms of Brown. She's been good early and she's been prolific in the forward line. She comes up a little bit higher now, but it's into the arms of Carlton, so they'll get it in here. Ingram's got possession. She takes possession again. She gets a little handball out the bottom, but it's taken there by North Melbourne and Keeley, who again has had plenty of possessions, and it falls into the arms of North Melbourne. Can't quite onto it, but for North running onto his Morney, can she get a goal here? No, she takes down her Carlton opponent. It's the two number 2s there, and it's Peterson there who's taken to the ground, and she'll get the free for a high tackle. So Peterson just goes for the short chip kick into the 50 and into the safe hands of Guerin, who again just tries to go safely. She finds her player and aims for her, and it's the one bounce into the hands of her teammate, who just decides to go a little bit long and out at the back of the pack there is Carlton, but it's Lang who's able to pick it up, and she goes for a short little hand pass across. She's calling for the ball again. She's ready for it, and she's free, and she's trying to get the ball here from Jones, and that she does. She's got an opportunity here. She's caught with the ball, and that'll be a holding the ball call. Sensational work from North Melbourne there to really force that call and to get the ball back in their hands.
Great tackle by Kira Price there. She's been really solid early on. She gets a short kick here to Laura Wright. So Wright, with Winnie Lang on the mark, who wanted that run and carry there from Courtney Jones, got it, but was wrapped up immediately. So Wright will go straight down the line. Kylie's there for the Roos, but Jennifer Liu, a great contested mark against 2 Roos there. She's been solid for the Blues so far this season, and she's continuing her great form in this game. She can't find an option yet, so she has to go high and down the line. There's a couple of Blues there, including Serena Gibbs, just fell out of her hands. Great pick up there by Maddie Wilson over to Zampalioni. She tries to kick it forward now. Stephanie Lawrence, who kicked to Bernardi earlier on in this quarter, runs after the footy, but instead it trickles over the boundary line. And Elise Collette, one player I've been really impressed with in this quarter is Sarah Ingram. She's really stepped up for the Blues, the number 12 in the pink boots. So, yeah, a couple of good signs there for Carlton.
Yeah, and someone else who's really impressed me is Jen Liu, someone you mentioned before. Her defensive pressure, second, third and fourth efforts have been absolutely outstanding, and it will definitely be one that the coaches, the video the coaches will repeat during the week.
So Guerin's now trying to mop it off ground level. It trickles past her hand. She's still trying to pick it up. Can't quite get to it. Jade Hamilton instead is able to pick it up. Megan Neal. North Melbourne will try to get it out of the forward 50, but it's a great smother there by Zampalioni just to try and keep it inside forward 50 for the Blues. It will get back in there. A kick there from Barnes. Just hopes, but can't quite get a teammate. Eastman runs onto it now for the Roos. Kicks it down the line. She finds a target in Cox, who's got space to run. Doesn't take a bounce, just goes straight down the line to her skipper in Kylie. Kylie falls over her head, but she's got time to pick it up off ground level. Kicks it, dribble it towards forward 50. Brooke Brown's there, so is Alexia Hamilton. Tries to kick it off the ground. Instead, Jessie Coletti mopping up on the last line of defence for the Blues. Tries to get a handball to her teammate. Brooke Brown was slug as she tackled her. Alexia Hamilton, the pick up, the spin, the kick, the goal! Alexia Hamilton kicks a ripper goal for North Melbourne to keep them in this contest. And it's a great goal for her. It takes North Melbourne to 3-2-20. They're still trailing the Blues 4-2-26. But wow, a great piece of play there from Alexia Hamilton, Elise Collette.
Yeah, absolutely. She just shrugged the tackle, did the spin, and was able to kick truly and have brought North Melbourne back into the game.
I'll tell you, when the Roos get the ball, they just move it so quickly. I think Carlton's goals have been a lot of build-up of slow chip kicks just to try and find a target. But North Melbourne, when they get it, they go. That Caitlin Cox run off the wing started that off for them. So they've been playing really well to try and get those quick scores, but still trailing on the scoreboard. So we'll see how they go here.
So we're seeing plenty of running here from North Melbourne, just trailing by the one kick at the moment. 12 minutes past in this second term here at IKON Park as the two rucks go up at it. Gibbs is in there for the Blues, and it's the Blues who are able to take possession here, and Lang's about to run onto it, and again can't quite pick it up, but a nice little handy tap there to Lawrence, which will help her side, but brought to ground there is Gibbs. The ball spills out, and at the bottom of the pack there is Klingbeil for the Blues. She's been in and under for most of the day, working hard. She gets brought to ground, and the umpire will come for a throw up at centre half forward.
There's a player here in the middle of the ground for the Roos. I think it's Megan Lawrence. I'll double check when she gets off the ground, but she just got up a bit groggy from that tackle, so she's walking off the ground now. The ball's still in play though. It's in the centre square. Laura Wright's at the bottom of the pack for the Roos. Klingbeil picks it up for the Blues. Oh, I like how that rhymes. Blues and Roos. Like I've never noticed it before, but here we go. Ingram's got the ball now for Carlton. Tries to handball it back to a teammate. It's a bit of stacks on here in this centre square position just outside the forward 50 here. And the umpire will pick out a free kick and we'll try and get the play moving. So it'll go towards the way of Klingbeil for Carlton. Klingbeil gets a quick handball off to Guerin, who just slaps it on the boot. There's a couple of players there for North Melbourne who are able to tap it down to ground level and try and get it out of that danger zone. Eastman goes straight down the line. Has got Kylie there, but it's also three Blues there. So the Blues are able to mop it up here. Honeybun tries to pick it off at ground level, just fell through her hands. Kylie's still in the contest here just because of the fumble. And the umpire's picked out a free kick. It'll go the way of the Blues once again. So the Blues are beneficiary of some free kicks here in the second quarter. And it's in the hands of Zampaglione. Try to say that 3 times fast. So she's on the true centre wing position. She'll go towards the forward 50 now. It's a great defensive mark there by Sarah Skinner, it looks like, with the ribbon in her hair. The former Glenorchy forward. Let's get called to play on. She's deep in defensive 50. Goes for a little chip kick. It does work out. So Caitlin Cox now will have the ball in her hands. Will go forward to Runnels. It's a slow build-up here for North Melbourne, which we haven't seen so far, but it looks like it's working. They're at centre wing. We'll go to Brown now in the tall target, but it falls out of her hands and trickles over the boundary line. Elise, what did you make of that play in particular from North? They have got some territory, but it was a slow build-up from them this time.
Yeah, very different, because normally they do go quite quick down that outside wing, but yeah, whatever works, I suppose.
Yeah, however you get it forward, especially in a cold day like this. Lauren Borden, take us away.
So it was Alana Sarek, it looked like, who came off for North Melbourne, just looking a bit gingerly, but she didn't look too bad, so we'll wait and see if she'll be back in the ruck, replaced by Goodman straight back into the ruck, as Carlton looks to go forward here into the safe arms of Lawrence. She sends the kick high. She's got a target in mind, but it looks like it's a 3v1 North Melbourne. Bit of a foot race here, but it's the Carlton winning out this little foot race here by Peterson. She's quick, and she got her hand to the ball, but she was under too much pressure from her North Melbourne opponents, wasn't able to control it. But it's the Blues who can still press here. Lang's in and about. And the ball's just filtering out a little bit out of the 50, but still in possession there, Carlton. Lang gets a quick kick away and should be into the safe hands of Trudgeon. So it's Trudgeon who's on the 50, and she's got a couple of options there coming towards her. She nearly gets it into the arms of her teammate Lawrence, who can't hold on to it. So it comes to ground. Trudgeon goes back in there and tries to get her mess and get the ball back and maybe try and sling another goal. She's got a few for the season. But it's North Melbourne, just into the safe arms here of Morney, who'll just stop here, relax, reset, and the umpire will blow his whistle. And it could be another overarching of the mark here, I think.
Yeah, Winnie Lang just stepped over the mark there. A bit too keen to try and get her to play on, so Morney will be able to take a run here with the footy. Cox nearly tried to get it there. A little cheeky there by her. Elise, what were you going to say there?
Yeah, just a quick around the grounds. Casey 2-1-13, Southern Saints 2-2-14.
Oh, close.
And things are not getting any better for the Falcons. They still haven't scored, and Essendon are 5-4-34.
So the Bombers keep on keeping on at the hangar. Nice VFLW venue, it must be said.
Very nice.
Out in Tullamarine. And we'll have a ball up here in the forward 50. Gibbs is in the ruck this time for the Blues. We like to see what she can do. Klingbeil, Lou, kicks it towards the centre square. Peterson's there to pick it up for Carlton. She ducks past two players and goes for a run. A quick kick towards Trudgeon. There's no one forward of the ball. Lang is sprinting towards the forward 50. Lawrence is just struggling past her, but the ball's smothered anyway, so it can't go forward for the Blues anyway. Megan Lawrence has it now for the Roos. Can't quite get the hairball off to her teammate, so Carlton can mop it up here in the centre square. Wilson's chasing after it at ground level. Now Jade Hamilton is able to kick it forward to her sister and Alexia. She falls to her ground level. She's able to pick it up cleanly, get a quick hairball off to the vice-captain and Nikki Wallace. Tries to get it, falls out of her hands, goes back to Hamilton. Hamilton has to kick it off ground level. Brooke Brown's there. She's kicked 2 goals today. Can she kick a third? Gets past one Carlton player, kicks it towards the top of the square, just over the top of her intended target. And the ball will trickle over the boundary line in North Melbourne's forward 50. There's a player holding her hands out for deliberate there, but it'll be on the full, actually. So North Melbourne will get the free kick there. Sarah Skinner's at a tight angle. The siren scored. She'll have a shot from the boundary to try and level up the scores here at half-time. So she's on the boundary. She's not far out. It's about 10 metres out, but it's definitely a difficult angle. She tries to go the check side, but instead the ball falls into play and it will be no score to end the second quarter here at IKON Park. It's the Blues still leading the way. They're 4-2-26. North Melbourne to 3-2-20. The goal scorers for the Blues, Peterson, Lawrence, Wilson and Gibbs, whereas the Roos, Brooke Brown's kicked two of their goals, and who was the other goal kicker? Alexia Hamilton. So a couple of different goal kickers there for the Blues and 2 there for North Melbourne. What did you make of that quarter, Elise? It was a bit of a frenetic pace.
Yeah, and a lot of defensive pressure. We were talking about it earlier on in the quarter and trying to work out why they were doing it. And I think one thing I was starting to realise was how crucial it is for both sides to win the ball out of the 50. Sorry, not the 50, the centre square today, because the team that's able to get it out of the centre square just bombs it straight into, is able to quickly get it into their 50 and lock it in a lot of the time. They're not able to score as much from that kind of passages of play as we saw in the first quarter, but it was still absolutely crucial to win it out of the centre.
And I think you're right, in a lot of matches we do sometimes see matches played between the arcs, a lot of stoppages, a lot of ball ups between the arcs, but these have been a fairly free-flowing, I think, potentially, particularly that second quarter, and it has been, like you mentioned, played in the 50s, which has been great to see and adding to a little bit of excitement for the match. Yeah,
it's been back and forth. It's that sort of tale of two halves game that we're talking about. So far, it's a tale of 2 quarters. The Blues won the first quarter, 3-1. Now North Melbourne with the second quarter win with 2-1 in their favour. They're still trailing the Blues, though. It's only by 6 points, so this game is right on the line at the main break. The Blues 4-2-26, North Melbourne 3-2-20. We'll see you on the other side of this on WARF Radio and the AFL Victoria YouTube live stream.
Hi, Kirk Pengilly from INXS here. And whether it's music, sweet things, puppies, movies...
song, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm a dance.
That's very good. We're having lots of fun here in the commentary box. We're having lots of fun having you on the stream here with on YouTube with AFL Victoria, also here on WARF Radio. It's been a good game so far between Carlton and North Melbourne. It's the Blues leading 4-2-26 to North Melbourne's 3-2-20. We're about to kick off the second half. The Blues are back on the ground, and Elise Collette, I'd love to hear some analysis from you to start off this second half. There's been a few impressive players for both sides and a few different kind of tactics. We spoke about North Melbourne kind of getting the ball forward really quickly, whereas the Blues are kind of taking their time. It's a kind of a tale of two different teams, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And even late in that second quarter, we saw North slow it down quite a bit. And I guess you've got to adapt to the conditions, because I haven't checked the radar in a little while, but I believe the rain has stopped, and you've just got to play to the conditions, and you can't always have the same tactic for an entire match.
The rain stopped now, but I'm looking at the radar. It looks like there's a big shower coming in probably in about half an hour over Melbourne, so we'll see how that plays out. It was pretty open even in the first quarter with that rain, Loz. I mean, both teams seemed to respond well to that weather. They obviously came into the game knowing it might be a bit wet, so we'll see how they go in this third quarter.
Yeah, we didn't see too much slipping and sliding. Obviously, we saw some packs and some, but there was nothing over more than what we'd see in any other game. So obviously it's not too wet underfoot, which is great to see. And I think looking at North Melbourne, I was probably counting them out a little bit earlier in the pre-game, and they've really, I guess, proved me wrong. And I think it's a lot of their ins actually have been sensational.
The Hamilton sisters.
The Hamilton sisters, geez, they are up and about. They're just lively, and I think particularly I've been impressed by Alexia Hamilton, who just, there was late in that second term there in North's 50, and she went for the second effort, the third effort, the fourth effort, and she didn't give up, and she's got plenty of pace, and she's not scared to use her body as well. So I think if they get her for the whole season and she can play every round, she's very key to them getting a few more wins on the board.
Absolutely. Before we start the second half here, and a quick around the grounds update from you, Elise. How is it going over at the hangar? Seems like it's a bit of a terrible time here for Darabin.
Yeah, not a good day to be a Falcons fan. Essendon 7-4-46. Darabin yet to score.
It's a bit of a hard day for the Falcons, but on the flip side, Essendon are playing some really good footy this season. They were probably one of the bottom teams heading into this season, but they're now, I think, 3-1. So they've had a great start to the season. And on the other game, is there any other updates from there?
I've got a couple more updates. 1 point in it down at Casey Fields. Southern Saints 2-2-14, leading Casey 2-1-13. And over at Vic Park, it's Collingwood 2-2-14, Hawthorn 1 straight 6.
A couple of close starts there, I think. Are you expecting Collingwood to run away with it against the Hawks?
Yeah, I don't know about you, Lauren, but from what I saw last week of Hawthorn and what I've seen of Collingwood so far this year, I think, Collingwood will put the foot down and run away with that one.
Oozes consistency, and I'd say that Hawthorn is probably a little bit of the opposite at the moment. Great in patches, but can't.
Yeah. I mean, they did look good in patches last week, didn't they?
Did.
But Collingwood are just another level above them, I think.
Yeah, technically still the reigning VFLW premiers without footy
true.
being played last season.
Being reigning premiers for 2 years.
Yeah, being reigning premiers without actually winning another premiership. So we don't mind that at all. They're obviously the team to beat. But the other game that's really interesting is the Casey and Southern Saints game. I'm struggling to pick a winner in that one. It's really back and forth there. I suppose, at least you know the Casey Demons pretty well. How are you expecting them to go in this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Casey have had some very big wins. We saw Casey here against Carlton in round 1, and they had the massive win against North last week. But the Southern Saints are taking it up to Casey so far, and they looked good in patches against Collingwood a couple of weeks ago when we were down at Vic Park. But I thought Casey would be further ahead than they are at the moment.
So it's definitely a close game. Maybe the conditions down at Casey Fields tend to wreak havoc there. We know it's notorious for wind. It's notorious for wind, and it might even be raining down in Casey. We don't know. We haven't seen the radar, but it might even be raining down in Casey. So if you are there, feel free to let us know how you're going, what you're up to. Tweet us at WARF Radio. We'd love to hear your thoughts on any of the VFLW games today or any of the VFLW games gone by as well. We're loving having your company here on the YouTube stream as well. We can connect the vision to our beautiful voices like I alluded to earlier in the call. Before we get started, I will make an apology. I called Nat Plain's name out earlier in the game. She's not on the team yet. She's not even playing. So, Brie Gurr, I think, was the one I meant
wrong,
there.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just
See
playing
what you
wrong.
did there, Lauren.
Very nice. Have we got a sound effect there, Peter Holden? Thank you. If I can get a player wrong and you can match it up with the worst pun, I reckon you're the worst one here. I don't think I've commentated with you both this season, but you will know I love a good pun. So if you can keep the puns up,
we can work a bit, and I'm all for it as well.
I'll give you a chocky at the end of the game. So the umpire's just getting ready to throw the ball up. The siren has gone, and he'll hold it up and it'll go again. So we're ready for the third quarter here. Alexia Hamilton's starting in the ruck, which is interesting. She was down forward in the first half. Georgia Borg's up against with her for the Blues. The Blues heading towards the Legend Stand end this quarter, whereas North Melbourne are going to the Royal Parade end. They've got the clearance here early through Skinner. A long kick down towards forward 50. Caitlin Cox gets a nice tackle there on Esther Honeybun, and she's holding the ball straight away. Cox plays on quickly, gets a kick out to Bethany Lynch. Instead, the leading target was Bree Gurr in the back line now to start the second half. Gets spotted to tackle, and she's holding the ball. So, actually, I'm pushing the back. Oh no, holding the ball. My apologies. He had two signals there. The umpire was a bit in two minds there. So
it looked like Barnes was holding her back too as she got up.
Yeah, exactly right. So a kick out here from Carlton. It goes in the direction of Klingbell. It can't quite get to her. Alexia Hamilton was able to run onto it. Gets a quick handball off to her skipper in Kylie. Kylie kicks it towards the forward 50. Caitlin Cox a quick pick up off ground level. Hands it over to the other side of her play of the body and Jess Morney. Morney tries to pick the ball up off ground level, but Carlton gets tackled immediately as they pick it up, and it's a set shot here for North Melbourne, and it's in the hands of Jade Hamilton with the helmet on today. She'll have a set shot here on a difficult angle, but she's about 40 metres out, so an early inside 50 for her. Elise, how do you rate her chances here?
I'm not really sure. I think accuracy is going to be more of an issue than distance, because she's at that, say, 45-ish degree angle.
So she leans in for the kick. It goes right. It stays right. There's a couple of players on the line, and instead it gets rushed through for her behind. So the first score of the third term goes the way of North Melbourne. That means they're 3-3-21. The Blues still leading 4-2-26. Here's Lauren Border to take you away.
So in come the Blues, looking to get started quickly, but just a pause, just a reset. And the umpire urges them to go on and get started. So that's exactly what they'll do. And they'll just go very high ball, straight out of the 50. So passes the pack and goes to a one-on-one. Getting an arm on that there and a bit of a tap out was Nikki Wallace for North. Ends up being quite a little handy, convenient one for her team. And it's in the hands now of none other than Alexia Hamilton, who's just been everywhere. And now she's even playing a little bit in the ruck. So she just goes to a bit of a 1v2 situation for her teammate who can't quite get it. In and about there for North Melbourne, though, is McDonald. She tries to get her hand on it, but in there for North, deep into their 50 is Cox. So they'll walk around here. Bit of getting a touch on there is Coletti. She tries to keep it in, although it's flirting with the boundary line there. And it'll go over deep in the pocket.
She was lucky not to give away the on the full there, because I'm not quite sure whether that came off the shin or the foot, but...
Yeah, a dangerous one there for the Blues. They're playing on the edge of danger here, deep inside their defensive 50. So the umpire will throw the ball up from the boundary, throwing Borgs in the ruck. Gets the tap down once again. She's winning the hit-outs today convincingly. But North Melbourne down at ground level tries to mob the ball up. It's still hot in their forward 50. The Blues are desperately trying to get it out. And they will, courtesy of a free kick to Amelia Klingbell, who was jumped on as soon as she got the footy. So Klingbell, she's deep in defensive 50, about 40 metres into North Melbourne's forward 50. Assesses her option and just decides to go long down the line. Stephanie Lawrence is there, can take a mark, running back with the fly, just flew over her head, tries to tap it back in the path of Borg. Borg was met immediately by Hamilton, and Hamilton will immediately wrap up Klingbell, who tries to get the ball out. And it was called a dangerous tackle. So Klingbell with her second free kick in a matter of minutes. Bit of a tough call there.
It's an interesting one, because if she hadn't... It looked like the umpire was about to call ball up, but then she just did that last-minute sling.
Yeah, so interesting times here at IKON Park in the third term. We're going to have a throw in there. The ball's worked its way out to the centre square, just outside the true centre wing position. Georgia Borg gets a tap down, gets it in the hands of Sarah Ingram. It just gets a kick on the outside of the boot. Tries to head towards the forward line, towards Maddie Wilson. She's run off it by her opponent there. Morty now tries to get the kick away for North Melbourne, but she's tackled as soon as she got the kick away. It was a great tackle there by Stephanie Lawrence, who kicked a great goal earlier in the second quarter with a nice banana on the outside of the boot. So Lawrence, she's on the centre wing position. She'll go inboard now to a tall targeted Serena Gibbs. It falls out of her hands. North Melbourne will have the chance to rebound now through Skinner. Hamilton goes long down the line. Bill's there for the Blues. She's tapped out of it there by Brooke Brown. Running onto it. And with great speed was Brooke Slady. Slady now is able to get it forward, just bounces past her teammate there. A bit of a tongue twister for me there. McDonald now goes to mop up her own mess. Carlton thought they had the holding the ball there. Georgia Borg now gets a nice tackle at ground level. Got down low for a ruckman. Morty tackled again as soon as she kicked it. A couple of back and forth plays here for both teams. Build now able to try and get it forward for the Blues. Trudgeon tries to mark it on the run. Instead goes in the hands of Hamilton, who's had a couple of early touches here in the third term. Morty tries to get a handball off. The players call for a ball after a big tackle. It didn't quite work out in their favour though, so they'll go forward once again, the Roos. Sarah Skinner with the clean hands goes towards the top of the square. McDonald's running onto it for the Roos. So is Coletti side by side. Coletti tries to paddle it forward. Falls just under McDonald's legs. Could have been a free kick there. Umpire didn't pay it. So the Blues will now get a chance to rebound out of 50 through Jessica Edwards. Gibbs is running onto it now. She's on the centre wing position. She can go for a run. She's got no one in support down forward. So she has to hack it forward towards the direction of Wilson. Wilson didn't have much support there. It was a 2-on-1 in North's favour. Price was able to get it out. Now North Melbourne can go back into their forward 50. A couple of evading handballs there from Eastman. Eastman goes forward now. Instead, it will trickle towards the boundary line. Keep going. Nope, it's going to stay in instead for the Blues. They're able to pick it up and try and get it back towards their direction. Courtney Jones with a long kick off her right boot. Jones towards Trudgeon. Gets tackled immediately as she kicked it. Can't quite get the ball back in her hands. The ball spills to ground level now. It's a bit of hot potato out there in IKON Park at the moment. Slaney tries to hack it off on ground level. And a player falls over the North Melbourne player. So a couple of, bodies flying everywhere in that play. It was a hot potato contested passage of play, and we'll have a Lasso free kick to try and free that all up. Elise Glett, what did you make of that?
Yeah, a bit frenetic there, and North have definitely been the more dominant side so far this quarter, even though they haven't been able to put it on, show it on the scoreboard. They've had a lot more of the possession, and although Carlton have had a few inside 50s, once North were able to get it back out of that defensive 50, it just hasn't gone anywhere near it, and they'll be looking to maintain that possession and just keep it up their end.
Done very well, North, to lock the ball in their forward half, and they've done it again here despite Carlton trying to press forward a little bit. But it will be the Blues' free kick on the outer side of the ground, and they'll look to make this count for something, sending it forward there, but it's intercepted there straight by North Melbourne. A little bit of a tap out the back there to a few players out the back, and it looks like it'll be a free kick for in the back, so it'll go North Melbourne's way. And they'll take their time here. Well, they've got plenty of players ahead, a bit congested, but they've got plenty of options. And it'll just be the short chip kick that they choose to go to, just to ease it through in a few kicks they won't take. But they go for the quick hand pass finally, just to get it to the top of the 50. There's a few Carlton players floating around there, and it'll be picked up by one of them. Great tackle there from North Melbourne to get that tackle, and they've forced the free kick. So North will get 40 metres out, will get this free. And they'll just go straight in, go to the top of the goal square. They're running onto it. Was Brown. Sensational lead. Very quick. Just got straight off her opponent. So she'll be on a bit of a tight angle. 15 metres out. But I think based on her performance today, I'd be backing her in for it, Ali.
Yeah, I was about to say something very similar. She's been an absolute star up forward today for North. And that was great work from North to take the free quickly and eye up Brown, and she has missed.
So Brown unable to get her third goal for the day. So she's still got the 2020 pick 49 draft pick. But she'll just have to settle for 2 now. She gets that point just flying along to the left there. And it'll be Carlton now who will go on the counter-attack again through the safe hands of Build. And she finds nice little mark there. Looks to be taken by Lang on the outer side of the ground. Bit of pressure there, bit of a contested mark. But again, she takes it quite strongly, so she goes for her teammate. I think the umpire will pay the mark there, so managed to hold on to it for a little bit of a drop there, but she's paid the mark, so it's Trudgeon who gets a bit of a hand pass across. She takes the ball back, and she'll go for the kick this time and just try to gain some ground for Carlton. That's what they need to do, and it'll be into the arms of Gibbs, who's been strong all day, pushing into the middle now, pushing into the ruck, and she'll try and make something work here. She's a key player for them, and it looks like she goes for the switch, and she might be able to do something here, and it goes to Edwards. She's straight smack bang in the centre of the ground, puts it on the right boot, plops it up to the top of the 50. A couple of her players around there. One of them is Ingram. They can't quite hang on to it, but it's Carlton who maintain possession here, and it's out the back is Ingram again, so she puts it on the right boot and sends it into Goldwood. Not quite, so mopping it up there will be Fitzgerald. She just sends it out of the 50, trying to do something for North Melbourne, but it's just Carlton players around there who are able to, again, pick it up, and they're able to lock it in here like North Melbourne have been able to do in this first part of the third term. It's going up. It looks like it might have been Gibbs there again. In and amongst it she is, but it's taken to the bottom of the pack, and the umpire will throw it out 30 metres from Carlton's goals.
Great pressure there by Nikki Wallace as well on Serena Gibbs. I mean, Gibbs looked like it was going to fall straight to her hands, but Wallace, to her credit, made it difficult for her. So Gibbs goes in the ruck again to try and fix up her own mess. Ball heads to ground level now. North Melbourne look to try and get it out of danger. They do. Morty's got it, but went to ground level. So Gurr now will have a chance to get her possession. Winnie Lang gets it forward. Ingram, who's been really impressive for the Blues, goes towards the boundary line. Madison Wilson was there but couldn't quite get to it, so we'll have another chance here for the Blues. Do you reckon it's time for a score here, Elise?
Yeah, they've been pushing here, Carlton, but yeah, credit to North. Their defensive pressure has been very good so far.
Yeah, I've mentioned that their defensive pressure has been really good this game. Both teams are looking to play a bit of a defensively minded game. No goal yet in this third term. We're at the Legends stand end where the ball is just trickling, and gets out eventually. So the Blues will now have a chance to run onto it deep in their forward 50. Jennifer Lou's there, falls to ground immediately as she gets it. Was jumped on top of it. Paige Trudgeon picked it up from ground level, but instead kicked it straight into the behind post, and it'll be on the full. So a chance for North Melbourne to try and kick it out of the danger zone there.
Worth a crack there, I think, though, from Trudgeon, just to have a go.
Yeah, it just came off the outside of her boot. She had the time and space to try and get a bit more composure, but just missed the mark on that occasion.
So it's Price now for North Melbourne, and she'll just go for a bit of a run and send the kick towards a pack. And it's Carlton who might get another chance. Here they are. Pick it up. Nice little handball out there. There's 3 North Melbourne players around, but it might be Carlton able to pick up here. No. Cleaning up there again is Price. And she gets it out through the legs. There, it might have been Gibbs again. Gone through the middle of her legs, but nice little kick along the ground there from Alexia Hamilton, and she'll just send it and try and gain as many metres as possible, and they'll flirt with the boundary line here. They've been doing that a little bit on that outer side of the ground, and it won't fall over. It'll be the umpire giving a free kick Carlton's way.
So the Blues will play on now. We'll have to go back. Courtney Jones is calling for it just outside the centre square. Now she has space to run. Goes to the long kick towards the top of the square. Ingram's there, the tall timber. Can't quite fall into her hands. She had a body in front of her to contend with. Lou, who's switched up into the midfield for this quarter, tries to get it forward now. Can't quite do so. So North Melbourne will have a chance to rebound now through Alexia Hamilton again, who just says to calm it down. We need to try and get a score here in this quarter. She does hit a nice target with a nice kick, Alexia Hamilton. So the Blues will look for the switch now. McDonald's right in the middle of the ground. We'll go forward now. There's a one-on-one here in the forward 50. North Melbourne can't quite mark it. It was Lynch on the end of that, but able to tackle her opponent immediately. Everyone calls for ball. The umpire won't pay it. Laura Wright, it gets in her hands, was tackled immediately as she picked it up, and we'll have a ball up just inside North Melbourne's forward 50, metres out from their 50-metre line. Could have been a set shot there for North there. I thought Lynch was a bit stiff with that free kick. Anyway, the ball's thrown back up. It'll be a handball off to try and get it forward for North. Dumped in the tackle without the footy. The umpire didn't see it. So Alexia Hamilton will have to go back to go forward. Tries to get a handball out. Linson now is able to pick it up for the Blues. Her opposite number tackles her. Linson again tries to get the ball back. Tackled again by her opposite number. It's been a great contest between those two so far. Maddie Wilson has to fall to the ground now. And we'll have a ball up just outside North Melbourne's forward 50. Elise Collette, have you got any around the ground updates for us?
I was just getting that now. Just going to get the old website to update. Down at Casey Fields. Oh, Casey have got a bit of a lead here. 5-2-32 to the Saints 2-3-15. Darebin fans will be glad to hear they finally actually scored.
There we go.
But unfortunately, none of their scores have been goals. Essendon 8-6-54 to 3 behind Darebin. And the Collingwood Hawthorn score hasn't changed, which is 2-2-14 to 1 straight 6.
And a great passage of play there by Peterson running through the middle of the ground. She found Lang in the forward 50 who has a set shot at goal. She chooses to play on instead and go for a bit of a shorter option. Trudgeon with the lead. Trudgeon with the mark. And is Trudgeon going to kick the goal? We're not too sure yet. She's 30 metres out, almost directly in front. she'll take her time now, run back and try to slot through her first goal of the day. A great lead out from her there. So she'll run in, or she'll trudge in, but the ball will head out to the right side. So no goals yet in this third term, but it's the first score on the board for the Blues in this quarter. It's 4-1-27 to North Melbourne, 3-4-22. Both sides applying a lot of pressure in this third term, and it's been hard coming if you're a forward.
So a couple of points on the board there for Trudgeon. We've got 5 minutes left to play in this third term, with Carlton at 4-3-27 leading North 3-4-22. So not much in the game. We haven't moved too many scores from the halftime score, but it's been a great game nonetheless. A lot of tussle and a lot of free flowing still, despite limited scoring this quarter. So there'll be a ball up on the 50. Both sides going at it there, and a bit of an even tap. Streaming out of there, though, is Carlton. So we'll go forward, and in and amongst it there was Ingram. She doesn't get the chance to pick it up because it's all North Melbourne who are moving as quickly as possible to just get the ball out of there, and that's what they do, but it's straight into space. Running it onto it there is Zampaglione. She's been good this quarter, in and amongst everything, but she's taken to the ground. Couldn't use her speed there to get away, and she's taken there by Lynch, who just brought her down, and now Lynch will sprint off to the other end of the ground to try and get this next pass and be a part of the next play to get a goal on the board for North Melbourne. Running onto it, though, will be Goodman, the big ruck. Can't quite get down low enough, and I think on the bottom there is Coletti. She's got the ball, but Goodman locks her in and makes sure the ball goes nowhere and forces the umpire to come in there and throw it up.
Elise Collette, the tackling pressure for Bethany Lynch has been really impressive. She's won 2 free kicks in about 5 minutes here. Really crucial for her team.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was brilliant work just on this wing here, because otherwise Zampaglione was on for a run, and hopefully for North, hopefully for North they were able to make the most of that, but won't happen by the looks of things.
So Honeybun, speaking of running, she gets a run, misses the bounce of the ball, is able to mop it up though, gets it to Jones, who goes inside 50, looking for Ingram. It's a one-on-one contest with Lawrence. Lawrence one out there, gets out of the danger zone, but while she was hitting her target, she pushed her opponent out of the way, tries to argue for a reversal. She won't get it. So Peterson in the middle of the ground, the North Cairns product, premiership winner, with the Sharks up there, goes inside 50, tries to find a teammate. Zampaglione's there. Ingram gets the quick hands back out to Guerra. We know she's a big kick. She goes to the top of the square. Wilson's there, almost juggles the mark, doesn't quite get it through. It falls out the back now. Courtney Jones is pretty clean off ground level. Is she clean off her boot? She is! A great goal from Courtney Jones, a snap from about 30 metres out in a difficult angle. It's her first goal of the day. It's the Blues' first goal of the third term. They're starting to get a little roll here. It's 5-3-33, North Melbourne 3-4-22. Elise Collette, talk us through that build-up.
Yeah, well, it was a good kick from, was it Jones? Because it wasn't the easiest of kicks. She had to kick round her body and a bit of a tight angle, but yeah, great kick and opening things up on the scoreboard here for Carlton.
Definitely rewarded for a good game so far, Courtney Jones. I think she's been really clean off ground level, which has been really important in these conditions today. So credit to her for getting a score on the board and getting the Blues their 5th goal of the day.
So 2.5 minutes left in this term here, and it's the Blues who have just kicked away a little bit and will give themselves a very handy buffer going into the 4th term, if they can hold on to it, that is. And it is the Blues who are looking to do that, and it's Lang again, who gets a little hand pass across to her teammate in Gibbs, who's been good. She sends it to the top of the 50, and the umpire blows his whistle, and it'll be holding. And getting the free kick there will be Ingram. So she'll get it directly in front, 45 metres out. Just looks to play on, pop it up to the top of the square. Weren't too many of her teammates in there, and it might roll through for a behind. No, it just goes off to the left there, and it'll be a throw-in, which might actually work in Carlton's favour here.
Yeah. No, go, Liz.
Sorry, Julia. If Carlton get their positioning right here, this could be good for them and painful for North.
Absolutely. The positioning was right in that instance. They tried to get the clearance out. A mark there from Klingbeil instead was played on because it was touched. So the Blues will have to mop it up here through Trudgeon. Ingram, who got the free kick in that previous passage of play, wrapped up immediately as she got the ball. Umpire's going to call holding the ball. She went straight to ground, didn't try to get it out. So it'll be a North Melbourne free kick. It's in the hands of Kira Fitzgerald, the former Richmond AFLW player, delisted at the end of the 2020 season. She's trying to find her way back onto an AFLW list. Goes for the switch. Now the ball finds Skinner. with the white scrunchie in today, the Glenorchy product, goes towards a teammate in Morney. She's a smaller player out of the two, so Gibbs will now have to try and get it for the Blues inside the centre square. Klingbeil, who's been getting a few touches here in the third term, goes past Lawrence. Ingram's in a paddock on her own, goes for the kick, bounces towards goal. Instead, it's going to bounce towards the boundary line. Will they try to keep it in? North, they do. Kira Price has got it with the ball in her hands. Tries to go straight down the line towards the skipper in Kylie. Gets it out, can't get it. So Gearin, her opponent, picks it up off ground level, gets for a kick towards goal. It's going to fade towards the left. A high kick, but didn't quite get the intended result from Gearin. So the score now, 5-4-34. North Melbourne, 3-4-22.
Just snuck that in for a behind there, I think, Ali.
Yeah, it was a great intercept there from Guerin, and unfortunately for Carlton, she wasn't able to kick truly.
So that's the siren there for the end of the third quarter here at IKON Park. Just the one goal to Carlton that term leaves them leading 5-4-34 against North Melbourne, 3-4-22.
And the goal kickers for both teams. So the Blues, all single goal kickers, Peterson, Lawrence, Wilson, Jones and Gibbs. Whereas for North Melbourne, Brown's got 2, Alexia Hamilton's got 1. Elise Collette, how did you sum up that third quarter?
Yeah, if I was Shane Webster and the North coaching team, I'd be very frustrated with that because particularly early on, North were very dominant. They had a lot of the ball inside their 50 and all they got was 2 behinds, which would be so frustrating for everyone involved with the North side. And then, in the second half of that quarter, Carlton were able to turn it on a bit, keep it down their 50 and, they only got 1 goal too, but they were. Sorry, I don't know where I'd go with that.
Well, no, but you're right. It was North. 2 goals scoring shots. Carlton had 3. They each had very similar scoring shots, but North Melbourne locked it in for that long. But you can't even you sit there and say, oh well, it was an accurate kicking that cost them. It was just they didn't get that opportunity despite looking quite strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
A quick around the ground scores before we head to a break. It's KC 5-4-34 leading the Southern Saints 2-3-15. Essendon 8-6-54. Darabin just the 2 behinds. Collingwood, it says 0-0-14, but I imagine it's probably 2-2-14 to Hawthorn 1-1-7. So a couple of interesting scores around the ground, but the score at this ground, Carlton leading 5-4-34 to North Melbourne 3-4-22. We'll catch you on the other side of this.
A tough time doesn't excuse abusive behaviour at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for domestic or family violence. If you, your family or community is affected, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free, confidential advice, support and counselling for everyone, contact 1-800-RESPECT. There's no place for domestic or family violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
They're my grandkids. Gee, they can make some noise. But you know what? It's a beautiful sound because they're alive and having fun. The sound I hate is silence in the pool. When a child drowns, you hear nothing. No splashing, no cries for help. Be vigilant around water. Fence the pool, shut the gate. I teach your kids to swim, it's great. Supervise, watch your mate, and learn how to resuscitate. I'm Laurie Lawrence. Kids Alive, do the 5.
The average person spends 44 minutes a day thinking about food. At Oz Harvest, thinking about food is a full-time job because we're always looking for new ways to nourish our country and combat food waste and hunger. Every day, we rescue quality surplus food across Australia and deliver it to those who'd otherwise go hungry. And you can help. Every dollar donated to Oz Harvest can provide 2 meals to people in need. Visit ozharvest.org. Thought for food.
Could you recognise if one of your friends or family was having a stroke? Think fast.
F. Face.
Check their face. Has their mouth drooped?
A. Arms.
Can they lift both arms?
S. Speech.
Is their speech slurred or confused?
T. Time.
Don't wait. Call 000 now. Think fast. Act fast.
A message from the National Stroke Foundation.
It's the VFL Women's Match of the Day.
Welcome back to WARF Radio and the AFL Victoria YouTube live stream. You're here with Julia Montesano, Lauren Borden and Elise Collette for the call of the Carlton versus North Melbourne Round 4 VFLW game here at IKON Park. It's Carlton leading 3-4-34 to North Melbourne. 5-4-34 to 3-4-22 to begin the fourth quarter. Elise, a quick summary before we start the fourth quarter.
If I was North, I'll be looking to make the most of my opportunities, because they had that many opportunities in the third quarter. It was ridiculous, but unfortunately they weren't able to get any goals, and they were only able to get the 2 behinds. And I think not quite sure what to say for Carlton. I think just keep doing what you're doing and keep the pressure up, and the good runs down the wing, and we'll see how the last quarter pans out.
Do you give the Roos a chance here to win this game, Loz?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. I think if they can return to what they did in the second term, they absolutely can. It's just 2 goals, and it's only 12 points. They outscored Carlton in that second term, 2-1. But they need to do that. And they need to stop that Carlton counter-attack, though, when they can score quickly, which we've seen them do today when North have put in all the effort for 5-10 minutes, and then it's Carlton who's able to reap the rewards by going back quickly the other way. So they can certainly make the score, but they've also got to put in that effort moving through the midfield to lock it in, like we saw at the start of that third term when they were able to lock it in their half. It's exactly what they need to do.
We mentioned earlier on in the second quarter, North had a lot of the ball and only got 2 behinds for their efforts, whereas Carlton got 1 goal and 2 behinds. So 3 scoring shots to 2. I mean, you think about it, there's not much in it in that sense, but the scoreboard tells a different story. Elise, how are you thinking? Are North Melbourne going to try and bounce back here?
Yeah, they're definitely in it, but I think if they make them more of their opportunities, particularly more than that third term, they're definitely in it.
So North Melbourne now trying to do exactly what Elise said, trying to get back into the game. So Sarah Skinner got the clearance there towards the direction of Bethany Lynch, who was great with her tackling pressure in that third term. Goes towards a tall target there and a fellow teammate. And it's going to be Laura Wright with the ball in hand. Just outside forward 50 for North Melbourne, who can get an early score on the board and get some confidence up. Goes to the hot spot at the top of the square. Brooke Brown with a beautiful lead. She's been fantastic this game, but it's going to be a free kick towards the Blues. What a shame. It was a great lead. She must have just pushed out her opponent on the up there. So the Blues now have a chance through Coletti to get out of the danger zone. But North, great rebounding skills there by Wright. A nice kick in from Kylie, who finds Alexia Hamilton all on her own with a paddock of space inside the forward 50 for the Roos. She's about 40 metres out on a slight angle. Elise, what did you make of that nice kick from there from Kylie?
Yeah, it was a great kick to find Hamilton there. And I was going to say, the 2 brilliant players up forward for North today have both been involved in the last minute and a half. Brooke Brown and now Alexia Hamilton.
So Hamilton runs in for her second goal of the day. It looks nicely off the boot. It's not going to make the distance. It's going to go through just to the left for a rush behind. So North Melbourne do kick off the scoring in this quarter, but it's to no avail. It's 3-5-23. The Blues are 5-4-34, still with the early ascendancy here in the last term.
So that kick just dropped flat straight over the line. It'll be the Blues now. Coletti's calling for it, but instead they'll just go long and forward. And at the back of a pack there, though, was Runnels, and she can't quite hold on to it, but that would have been handy if she did. Lang's there to clean up like she always is. Zampaglione, we haven't seen as much of her today, but once she gets on a run, she can be a powerful player in key moments. She gets it forward, but instead it'll be North Melbourne through the hands of Greenacre, who can just dribble it forward a little bit. Goes into the hands of her opponent in Lawrence, but she can't hang on to it. So again, North have a chance here, very close to the boundary line. In and amongst it is Fitzgerald, but it will roll over straight in front of the North bench. A few claps coming from coaches there just to spur on their side. They've got 2 goals and 1 point to make up here, so it's whether they can do that. 33. No, it's 11 points, sorry. So it's 1 goal and 5
Nice maths
points
out loud from Loz.
to make up here.
I'll take it from here, Loz. You keep doing your maths. The ball's back in play now. It's been thrown in. A couple of players fall to the ground. Ingram's one of them. She's been really good for the Blues today. Probably her best game for the VFLW side today. But it's going to be holding the ball free kick. And Nikki Wallace is on the end of it. In for a game today after concussion earlier on in the season. A nice kick there to the lead of Runnels. Runnels is inside the centre square. She wants to go down the line. She finds a player all on her own in Kira Price. Marks it lace out. Still inside the centre square though. A quick chip over. Gets it to Eastman, who can go for a run. She has a space to do so. Bethany Lynch is there in the forward 50. Barnes was there for the Blues, just fell through her hands. Kylie, we know how accurate she is with the ball in hand. Gives it back to Eastman, who started this play off. Gets it over to Hamilton, just goes over her head. Coletti did well in defence to try and get it to her teammate in Edwards. Edwards finds the ball now, was tackled as she kicked it. Could have been a free kick. Brooke Brown there with the tackle. Hamilton with the quick handball off. The ball centre squared now into the goal square. Dangerous territory here for the Blues. They're able to get the defence to kick it out now. Woody Lang's got the ball at ground level. She tries to try and get a handball out. She's wrapped up as soon as she took the ball in her hand. And a big shout from holding the ball from the North Melbourne bench. I heard it up for you from our commentary box. Instead, the Blues will keep on keeping on. Nikki Wallace to Hamilton, to goals. It is! It sails through. Another Hamilton sister on the board today, and this time it's Jade Hamilton with her first goal of the day. She's in the helmet today. She's got the big ponytail at the back of her, and she's absolutely killing it today. Her and her sister are doing wonders for North Melbourne. That takes them up to 3-4-34. Oh, sorry, not 3-4-34. 4-5-29 to 5-4-34. We haven't got a scoreboard here. We're keeping the scores on our own, so bear with us, but a great passage of play there for the Roos, Elise.
Yeah, it was great work, and it was a great shove from Hamilton just to break the tackle there and get the goal.
Gee, what a scintillating match we've got on our hands right now. Just 5 points in at North, trailing Carlton. Wow, they've been blistering in the opening periods of terms. They've shown that throughout the day, so now it's just about whether they can continue it on and really push through for the rest of the term. So they'll go up. We've got Gibbs in the ruck there again for Carlton. She's been sensational, but it'll be North who can run onto it here, although sweeping in there has been Peterson, another player who's been up there and about and a key player for her side. She sends it into the 50, and it's Jones who's able to run onto it, pick it off, shrug off her opponent, put it on the right boot, and she sends it towards goal, and that has bounced through for a goal. Carlton with a reply in about 14 seconds here.
Yeah, that was bloody quick from Carlton, wasn't it?
And Courtney Jones, the second of the day, she's been fantastic for the Blues. It takes them up to 6-4-40. The North Melbourne of 4-5-29. A bit of breathing space for the Blues and a very, very quick reply. You're right, Loz. That was a great set of clearance there from the Blues to try and get it up forward. So we'll wait for everyone to get back into their positions now. Just when you thought North was getting back into the game, the Blues put the accelerator on, and it's Courtney Jones who's been one of their barometers today, who's been absolutely fantastic for them. So looking at some positional matchups, Sam Palioni's on the wing with Jess Morney. Of course, we have the anti-density rule, so we have to get players back in the goal square at the centre square. Jessie Coletti's playing full-back on Alexia Hamilton. Can she keep her contained? Umpire throws the ball up now. We're ready to recommence play. Borg with another hit out. She's been fantastic. Has to get her own clearance. Gets it off the ground towards the direction of Wilson, who ran past it initially because she heard the voice of Guerin. Guerin has to handball it back to get forward. Instead, it's North Melbourne who are going to try and get the ball forward towards their end to try and get their quick reply. Doesn't quite work out in their favour. The ball's in the centre square now. It's in the hands of Gurr. Lynch lunges on for another great tackle. Still gets the kick away though. Courtney Jones can get her second in a minute. She picks it clearly off ground level. 40 metres out. Launches off the boot towards the goal square. Falls out of Gibbs' hands. Running onto it is Lawrence. She tries to get a goal. Was it off the boot? It was! Stephanie Lawrence with her second of the day. The Blues are rolling on in this game. And Stephanie Lawrence, boy does she know how to kick a goal. It takes the Blues to 7-4-46. North Melbourne 4-5-29. Elise Collette, how good have the Blues been in this little passage of play?
Bloody hell, they've been absolutely brilliant. And the kick into the goal square there, it's almost, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Because, yeah, Lawrence was able to get the crumb. I didn't catch who it was at the who tried to mark it in the goal square there.
And Serena Gibbs, yeah.
Serena Gibbs, thank you. And yeah, she almost hit the post there, but just nicely in there.
So about 6.5 minutes, into this last term, and Lauren Borden's about to take us away once the players are all back in their positions.
So the ball will go up here, and in a matter of minutes, Carlton are back leading by 17 points and looking the goods at the moment. With 15 minutes left in this term, North will go forward again. And it's nearly a mark taken, but it falls out and just sweeping out by Carlton. They'll just go ahead here and start to run. It goes to the middle of the ground, but they can't do anything with that because instead it'll be North Melbourne through Morney, who again gets another position. She goes for just a short little kick and tries to find her teammate in Jade Hamilton. Can't get it, but again, they've got a chance here through the arms of Brown, who's been prolific. She puts it on the boot, just rolls it through, lying on the ground, arms up in the air, Brown. And she scores her third goal of the day in a sensational fashion and just made it work, really.
Bloody hell, it wasn't the easiest kick. It was off the ground and she was being tackled at the same time. But, yeah, she's been an absolute star for North today. I would hate to think where North would be right now if she wasn't in the side today.
Absolutely. Well, right now they are 5-5-35, still trailing the Blues 7-4-46. We've played probably about just up to 8 minutes in this quarter. And Brooke Brown, another Tasmanian product. We spoke about how good the Tassie girls are at the start of the broadcast, and she's been one of them, absolutely. She comes from a basketball background, so a new sport for her, and the basketball converts to be fantastic. Even Paige Trudgeon, who comes from basketball as well. The two tall timbers are doing really well for both sides at each end of the ground. Laura Border, take us away.
So not the most conventional of goals, but I'm sure North Melbourne will take it. They need to do something here, and trying to do that will be Slaney. She's kind of taken to the bottom there, to the ground, and she'll be charged there with dropping the ball. So instead it'll go the Blues way, and the Blues will look to just send this game and ice the game here. So Gurr decides to just take that short little kick off to, looking like over there, to Peterson. She's been good today. She's got pace. She can't use it there though because she's stopped by her opponent, but it doesn't matter because she'll find Gibbs, who has actually been everywhere, back, forward, middle today. And she goes for a kick and she finds a teammate just floating behind there who can take the grab.
Paige Trudgeon, the basketball background once again, just as I alluded to. Hopefully I didn't put the muzzle on her here, but she's about 25 metres out on a difficult angle, but I wouldn't put it beyond her.
So Paige Trudgeon not able to score a goal today. She's had a couple of opportunities. She'll take this one. It's quite low and flat, but the umpire just looks up and watches it go through the goals, and that's Paige's first of the day, Carlton's third of this quarter, and that could be the game nearly sealed, do you think, Ali?
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, it was a great mark there from Trudgeon. Wasn't easiest, but yeah, you've just got to make sure you stick it in, and great kick, and yeah, who knows? This might be the icing on the cake, but I don't want to call it too early.
I like the stick it in reference as well. It's just stick it in, just get it in there. I like it. That's what we call for on the sidelines, and that's what we're going to get. The Blues now extend their lead, 8-4-52. North Melbourne are 5-5-35 still. We've played probably just up to 10 minutes now in this fourth term. And we'll go back up in the ruck again. It's Borg trying to get it towards the Royal Parade end where the Blues are kicking towards this quarter. Gurr tries to get a soccer off the ground. Jumped on immediately is North Melbourne, and we'll have another ball up in the centre square on that true centre wing position. Skinner throws the ball back to the umpire. Guerid's in the midfield matched up on her. So Borg back in the ruck for the Blues. She wins another hit out. She's been really good today. Vflw jumps straight on top of her opponent, and it will be a free kick to North Melbourne. It's Skinner with the ball again, who's been everywhere in this little patch of stoppages. So Skinner, right in the middle of the ground with Lou on the mark, goes for a long high kick towards the skipper in Kylie. Can't quite get to her. Build, spills in her hands. North Melbourne can get it forward again. Brooke Brown's there. She's been the barometer today. Just falls out of her hands. Coletti's at ground level, desperate trying to get it out. Alexia Hamilton's there to try and get it out for her side. Can't quite do so. Carlton are putting the pressure on here in defence. And it looks like it might be taken over the boundary line. North Melbourne are calling for deliberate, but it will be a throw-in just inside their forward 50. Elise Collette, do you give them a chance to score here?
Yeah, they're always a chance when they go into 50. It's just whether they're able to make the most of that opportunity.
Absolutely. So we'll have another throw in again. It's Alexia Hamilton in the ruck this time. She'll try and grab it and kick it off the boot. She can't quite do it in that instance. Skinner's got the ball this time, grabs it out of the stoppage, goes towards goal. Brooke Brown's running closely with Jessica Letty, tries to paddle it in the direction, goes for a kick off the ground. It gets...
didn't quite work out there for her.
It didn't quite work out. So you saw there a kick towards the goal, but it came too high off her leg, so it will be called a behind. If you want to kick through the goal, you have to kick it below the shin level. So didn't quite work out for Sarah Skinner in that instance, and neither did it work out for North Melbourne either. It takes them to 5-6-36. Blues 8-4-52.
I thought Brown might have weaved a little bit of magic there as well, but it was not to be. It'll just be the point there.
It's exciting every time she gets the ball, though. It's really great to see some tall players excelling in this weather. So good job by her, and obviously we'll see if she can get a fourth on the board.
So North Melbourne still within a chance. Ball 35 metres out from their goals. The umpire throws it in. Blues player goes to ground there and build. She doesn't complain too much. She just gets on with the job. That's what she normally does, and she's there in amongst the play. But it'll just running after it is Carlton the Blues. They can't keep it in, so it'll go over. And it'll be a throw-in.
Yep.
So a bit of North Melbourne just trying to get the ball there.
A throw in inside forward 50 and a lasso for the last touch outside of those 50-metre arcs. So we'll have a throw in here in North Melbourne's North Melbourne's forward 50. Hamilton once again in the ruck, wants to try and grab it out. It's all Carlton though in the tap out. Barnes gets the ball, is tackled immediately as she gets it. Lou tries to keep it in, she just runs out as soon as she picks it up. So we'll have another stoppage here. And the Blues' defensive pressure has really stepped up in this quarter release. What are you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. The defensive pressure is so high and making it very hard for North to score.
Absolutely. So we'll see if they can get on the board here once again. Brenna Tarrant might be a bit worried about her 5-goal record with Brooke Brown on 3. She can easily get another 2 here. She's right in the contest. Hamilton, though, could she get her second for the day? She's picked it up at ground level, tries to handball it back in board to her sister, Alexia. Alexia can't quite get the ball. So the Blues were able to mop up through Lou. Kicks it out on the full, though. It'll be a scoring shot for whoever's closest. It looks like it might be Airlie Runnels there for North Melbourne. She might have to jump the fence to get this footy with no crowd. Yep, she does. Climb over. Oh, reach over. Yep. Scoop it up, and she does. Great effort by her. That's the play of the day on the old Channel 10 News, I reckon. So, it was kicked out of the full, I believe, but it might have been touched before the line by Runnels.
I thought it would have been North's free too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, well, we'll have a throw in there for North Melbourne. It works in their favour to see if they can get a nice clean stoppage. Hamilton just shovels Sporg out of the ruck, goes towards the goal square. Brooke Brown's in close proximity with Jessie Coletti. A nice pick-up, a kick and a spin. Falls towards the goal square. It's still there for North. Can they get it off the boot? They can't. It rushes through to the right side for another behind. They've been peppering up the goals but can't quite get the desired outcome. It takes their score to 5-7-37. Still trailing the Blues, who are 8-4-52.
Gee, they've had some opportunities here.
Yeah, at least they're actually able to score from these ones this time, unlike what they were able to do in the third term.
But time's running out a little bit here. 14 and a half minutes have gone in this final term here at IKON Park. North locking it in here, and it's running through. There was Greenacre, and she might get the free here.
So just behind play, as soon as Guerrero got the kick-off full back, she was knocked heavily there by Brooke Brown, and she's really shaken up by that. She's gone straight to ground, and they're calling for the game to stop, and she's going to run off to the traders and get a little bit of help out there. Hopefully it doesn't put her AFLW last round chances in doubt. We know Brooke Vernon's already off with what appears to be a knee injury. She's on crutches already, so Blues undermanned in this last term.
So it's Greenacre that sends it in there, and she finds a few teammates. They can't hold on to it. Up and about there was Hamilton. Goes forward to the top of the square, and it could be a push here, and it could be a North Melbourne free, and it will be a North Melbourne free.
And guess who it is?
It's none other than going for her 4th goal of the day, Brooke Brown. Nearly directly in front, the slightest angle. Again, she doesn't really muck around when she goes for the kick. She just puts it on the boot. And why not when you're going to sail it through for your 4th goal of the day, Brooke Brown? Sensational work there. And now she's decreased the margin a little bit here for North Melbourne, 6-7-43. They're trailing Carlton 8-4-52. Can they do it?
I wouldn't count them out of it just yet, but yeah, they kick easy as you like from Brooke Brown, and she's been an absolute star. Probably best on ground, you might say.
Yeah, I suppose it's up to the umpires, I suppose. The umpires had to lean towards the midfield, but up here, Brooke Brown's dominating from our point of view, so we'll see how she goes in terms of the best on-ground votes. We've got about 5 minutes left, so it's definitely not beyond North to try and steal a win here, an upset win. Well, not so much an upset win, but just a win.
Yeah, and especially because the most of the ball in the last 5-10 minutes or so has been in North's end, so one clean kick out of the middle and they're on again.
Absolutely well observed, and they're going to go out here again towards their forward 50. Tries to kick it towards Lynch, but Michaela Barth is there for the Blues to try and get a mark. The smaller height meant she couldn't quite get it forward. Brooke Brown, held by her opponent in Edwards, tries to get a handball off. Wanted a free kick, couldn't quite get it. It's still deep in North Melbourne's inside 50. Umpires picked out a free kick. It's going towards the way of Brooke Brown. It could seriously be her 5th goal of the day. She's 30 metres out, almost directly in front, and we know she likes to rush, well, not so much rush, but she's not a person that takes her time. She's walking in straight away. Brooke Brown for her 5th goal of the day to get North Melbourne's 7th goal. Just fades towards the right. It was a crucial kick to get the Roos back in the game. Instead, it takes them to 6-8-44. The Blues are 8-4-52. North Melbourne is still in it. They're a goal and a half away from a win.
Carlton will be breathing a huge sigh of relief right now, because if Brown had kicked that, it would have been a 3-point ball game.
Exactly. So that was a big miss by her. But Build, it's in the safe hands of the Blues. They like it to be in her hands from the kick out. But it's marked. A great contested mark there by the Roos. And they'll be able to send it right back inside 50 now. To the top of the square. Where's Brooke Brown? Alexia Hamilton's there. She wanted a free kick. Gets the ball off the ground level. Hands it off to a teammate in Laura Wright. Tackled immediately by Honey Bun as she got it. Build now. Tries to get it outside of the danger zone, but Miena McDonald marks. And will she take a set shot out, or will she go towards the goal? She's 40 metres out on a slight angle.
Looks like
she tries to go to the top of the square. Brooke Brown, where are you? Where are you, Brooke Brown? Not quite there. Jessica Edwards now, and the back of the pack tries to get it out for the Blues. It goes straight towards the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in. It's a tough game here for the Roos. There's probably about 3 or so minutes left in the quarter.
So Brooke Brown got some fingertips on that at the top of the goal square.
It's exciting when she gets it.
She's in and amongst it. She's been in and amongst it all day. Is there something that she can weave through here? Just a couple of minutes left in the match. It's going to be hard work here. One of the Hamiltons might be able to do something too, and that's who's got the ball right now. It's Jade Hamilton. She, again, peppers it towards Brown, who's on the boundary, and it goes over the boundary on the full. So it'll be Carlton here, who might be able just to slow things down. Coletti's got the ball. She might just look for the safest option, or she might look to just clear it. And that might be the option that she takes, is just get the ball out of that 50 and see how much she can clear it. But she finds a mark anyway. Beautiful contested mark taken there
by Gibbs.
And the Blues will just look to move it forward, get it out of that danger zone. Trudgeon's up there. It falls into a little bit of space there, and it's North who run onto it, and the ball again spills out. It's anyone's ball here at the moment, and it's North Melbourne who can gather a little bit here and take it and go for a run. It's right on the outer side of the ground. She gets a little hand pass across there, and the North have got a few numbers in there. It's Hamilton out there. She nearly takes the mark, Alexia, but she's quite far from home anyway. It's 45 metres out, and the ball goes over the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in. Not long to go, just seconds remaining in this match.
I thought it was out at the full. It looks like a Carlton player has it and is about to kick it. The umpires are discussing it now. It was out in the full, but it doesn't matter. The siren's gone. It's another victory for the Blues, their second straight win in the VFLW competition. They won 8-4-52. North Melbourne 6-8-44. A great game here at IKON Park. The Blues goal kicker Stephanie Lawrence with 2, Courtney Jones with 2, Wilson, Trudgeon, Gibbs and Peterson with the singles. For North Melbourne, well, it was pretty much a one-woman show in the forward line. It was Brooke Brown with 4 goals, Alexia and Jade Hamilton with a goal apiece. But what a great performance from the Blues. Elise Collette, can you sum that up for us?
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good performance from Carlton, and much better compared to what we saw from them in round 1. But if I was Shane Webster and that North coaching squad, I'd be very, very frustrated with that game, particularly that second half, because they had so many opportunities, and alas, they just couldn't make the most of them. And Carlton were, more able to take the most of their opportunities across the whole game, not just that second half.
I do agree with you, because, boy, there were some moments where North Melbourne was sensational, and you thought, geez, they can take the game on here. There were clear periods where they had not just the momentum, but they had the skill, and they were outclassing Carlton around the ball, and then they couldn't make the most of the opportunities, and then just dropped off a little bit. And I think that drop off and that inability to score when they were hot and running hot. I mean, how great were they in that last 10 minutes of play when we saw Brown get a couple and be in and amongst it? If they can make the most of that, like you mentioned during the game, it's only, what is it? How many points are in that? 8 points in it.
It could have been very different. I think particularly that third term, that I don't know what the forward half percentage was, North versus Carlton, that third term, but I'm pretty sure North had it more in their 50. And if you look at the scoring shots for that quarter, it was 3 shots to 2. So you look at that and go, oh, it was barely even. North were just inaccurate, but it really wasn't. That
wasn't the story, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. They just couldn't make the most of the opportunities.
Yeah, you're right. Shane Webster would definitely be frustrated by that, but also some positive sides out of it too. Obviously, Brooke Brown, the standout with 4 goals. Would she be pushing her case for an AFLW debut in the last round of the season?
You'd have to think.
She was accurate, silky,
and just dominant. Not just scoring wise, but just dominant in that 50. And yeah, if I was Darren Crocker in the AFLW coaching panel, I'd be very silly if I didn't pick Brooke Brown next week.
I like that. Just very silly. Very nice. So the Blues players are huddled in the middle of the ground, just getting a few words out. They're obviously happy with their second straight win. Is this the start of a nice run of form for the Blues, do you reckon, Lauren?
It could just be that was. I mean, they hung on there and they hung tough, and I think that's important again to winning games like that. No, they didn't look dominant throughout the whole day. There were times when they looked strong, and there were times when they pushed forward very quickly, but they weren't dominant for the whole day. But they stuck in there and they carved out a victory, which I think is important as well.
Got Hawthorn next week, followed by Collingwood, so they could be 3 from 3 against the Hawks. Collingwood, they might struggle a bit, but like we said, with them not playing finals, the AFLW players might be able to come back in. But we obviously wish Brooke Vernon well, like we said, an AFLW listed player that went down. Guerin went down at the end, but it looks like it was just a wind or a head knock, so she should be okay. But in terms of players today, who did you guys like? Do you have a 3-2-1 perhaps, or do you just have a couple of players that you like to reel off?
I think players came in. I think Klingbeil was very good early, and she was good doing that hard groundwork along there. And then obviously Bilden and Lou for Carlton are always strong.
Always strong, exactly.
I thought Gibbs up there actually for Carlton would probably be one of my best on. I think she went back, she played forward, and she then was rucking for a large proportion of the match. And I think she was sensational, had so much of the ball, and was very influential throughout the match. So for Carlton, she'd be probably one of my best ons.
And Elise for North, what are you thinking on their side of things?
I probably wouldn't. I was going to say, I probably wouldn't be able to do a 3-2-1 because there would be too many names. But 3 votes, definitely Brooke Brown. She was an absolute superstar. And if she wasn't playing today, I'd hate to think where North would be at the end of this game. It would be a very, very different scoreline. She was brilliant. Alexia Hamilton was also absolutely brilliant. She was strong in that forward line, but also went into the ruck for a while as well and held her own, which was impressive to see. And yeah, Eastman had a fair bit of the ball. Morney had a fair bit of the ball. Beth Lynch's tackling was amazing. It was absolutely brilliant.
You could not get past her. You could hear the footsteps just coming, and then she'd get you. She's like a little silent killer. So, yeah, she was absolutely fantastic with her tackling pressure.